Good morning. Hope you all are doing well. It's mid-April. Wanted to prepare a message for you all to share some information about what's happening in the program and some thoughts that I have about how what we're doing to help FEMA at this time is so important. One thing I think we can all appreciate and agree on is that this is a time of great change. Even over the past 6 months, since I last released a video message, so much has happened with the transition from the Standard Operations 2 to the Standard Operations 3 task order, a really big deal representing a lot of new opportunities and growth for the team. We also have a new president that's has a big impact on the nation, especially at our federal level of government. We have an accelerated process this year for the regional task orders to be competed and awarded. Here we are on April 26th, and we've already received 7 requests for proposals from regions with very rapid turnaround requested. So I don't think it would have been easy for any of us to imagine we'd be working so hard so early in the year without much of a break, moving from the holidays to landing the Standard Ops task order into a new one, and now racing towards winning this new work across the nation, all the while being responsive to standalone task order requests to support the needs that follow disasters that have happened recently and the work that we do through rapid response and building sciences. So a lot is changing. And as we look ahead, there's a lot of uncertainty regarding the future of this program, the future role of FEMA, funding through taxpayers and appropriated funding versus funding through the National Flood Insurance Program fees. And then also a lot happening around technology and innovation. We've been invited in by FEMA to help them address questions they have about how to move to a more data-driven environment, how to get to a fully modernized, all-digital delivery for their program. They're welcoming us in. They like what they're hearing from our team. I'm really proud of what we've been able to contribute to them given this uncertain time. But when I say uncertainty, I also want to celebrate how exciting it is. A lot of these forces that are impacting us and our team in this program are actually forces that are, I would call macroeconomic, impacting many folks who are working on contracts, delivering work and services for the U.S. federal government. So it's not just our program, and we're reckoning with what kind of nation we want to be, what we want to spend our money on, and things that we're seeing are that real drivers for these choices are around anything that stimulates and grows our economy, anything that contributes to safety and security, and then anything that promotes good decision making around fortifying and developing infrastructure needed here in the United States. So the way I look at it, being in a career that's tied to engineering and mapping is the right place to be right now. This is a great place to be, and being right in the middle of a 5-year contract with FEMA, able to really help them navigate this time. So it's a really exciting time to be here in this industry, working for this client on this program. So I'd like to ask that in conjunction with listening to my message this month, that you take a moment, 7 minutes in fact, to listen to a video that I'm going to share with you along with the email that communicates today's message. This is a TED Talk. It's 7 minutes in length, and you'll be listening to Dan Gilbert. He's a professor of psychology at Harvard University. And I really like how he describes several things that are common misconceptions in the human mind as we think about time and we think about change. A couple of his remarks that really struck me that are so applicable to us at this time. He mentions the difference between the ease of remembering things and difficulty in imagining things. And that the mistake we make is that, we confuse the difficulty in imagining with a belief that something is not likely to happen. And then over time, we can really only appreciate it in looking back that that's not at all true. And that the difficulty in imagining is really just that. It's not an indicator of the likelihood of something coming about in the future. So I want to share with you a couple of drivers that we can know about and can predict, and that what we're going through now is actually not at all unusual given normal processes that happen. And then I want to challenge you all to think about where the program that we support today, where it sits and how it's changed over time and where it's going. So a couple of known drivers for change that impact us. We know that every 5 years, it takes an act of Congress to reevaluate and reauthorize the National Flood Insurance Program. That's such a big deal in terms of impacting the environment in which we do our work. We know that every 4 to 8 years, there'll be a new president with their priorities, and that our client works within the executive branch. So that part of government, they report up to that leader, and that leader changes every 4 to 8 years. We know every 2 to 6 years there's a new Congress. Many of you have been involved in myriad requests to get our client prepared to brief new members of the U.S. Congress. So there could be a significant amount of turnover every 2 years, every 4 years, every 6 years, just based upon the cycles of those term limits for those folks and re-election processes. And then we know that there's rapidly evolving data applications, technology. We're seeing things that used to have a cost, maybe even a high cost, now dramatically reduced cost or even free of charge. So all of these types of evolutions and disruptions are impacting the way that we work. So we've got to be ready for change all the time. So now moving on to this program specifically. So here we are in the middle of 2017. And when you listen to what Dan Gilbert has to share with you, he's asking you to think about things in sort of 10